It has been so long. I mean, not for you guys watching, because it'll be the next part I upload. But for me, it's been a while, and I'll show you. But let me start this off somewhat right. Hello there, Nebulous Scholar here. Welcome back, sort of, to Fuga, Melodies of Steel. As you can see here on the title screen, I have done it. I have lit up every single gear on the right side. And as you can see, there is, and you missed the switch when it showed up. There's now Secret Movie tab. I mean, all it did was the screen glowed white and then the new thing appeared. But, you know, I just came back to check to see if it finally happened, and it did. So, before I do that, and to avoid this being stupidly short, let's just jump back here 1 second. So I am now 45 hours in. So this is 20 hours after I first finished the game. As you can see, this is the first file. Alright, well, yeah, first file. This is playthrough 2, which I finished here. No, this is what I've finished here. And this is playthrough 3, all the way in chapter 11. Let me just jump in, because again, 20 hours to unlock the rest of the gears, however many there were. So, to go over what I've done, because there is a lot, everyone hit level 50 above, which I think was one of the gears. It was also an achievement, so I have every single achievement in this game now. I got every single achievement and still did not unlock the final gear. Just want to mention that. So, everyone is above level 50. Oh, and Brits is left at this point, so you can't see him, but he is also above level 50. This didn't light up any gears, disappointingly, but every single character, and you also can't see Brits again, but every single character is at level 10 affection with everyone. I have fully maxed out everyone, and it didn't give me a gear. I have, however, seen every single Link event, so that was nice. I am not about to play through all of them or go over them, but a lot of them are cute, a lot of them are funny. None were super weird. Britz's were, I guess I'll go over them in general. Britz's were definitely all about him struggling to have everyone accept him. He's like, I'm Berman, you guys shouldn't like me. And they're like, no, but we like you, you're a friend. Maltz is all about being the oldest and relying on him. Fighting with Wappa about being the leader is really funny. The ending was, I don't know if either of us is the leader. I feel like I still should be, but you think you are, but whatever. Yeah, with Boron, it was about how he's always the most reliable, with how Malt's always the most reliable. With Hannah, it's about her being mom to everybody. Kyle's was about how he's a cool guy and things like that. I actually enjoyed his with Chick, because they have, I guess, similar outlooks. She's like, I'm a lady, and he's like, I'm a gentleman. And then they don't treat each other that way at all. He treats her as a brat, and she treats him as this mean guy. So it was really funny. Anyway, I got all those. This has now opened up to Jean Archives, so I will tackle that in a second. That's what I'm really here for. Secret Garden does not contribute at all. As you can see, I have a little over half of them, but this doesn't contribute at all to the gears. Comic Pages does. This unlocked one gear. Getting the good ending unlocked a gear. Or getting the, I guess, perfect ending. Getting the normal ending unlocks... Let me scroll down. The last 2 or so CGs I was missing. Where is it? All through those. Here we go. Yeah. So there's the explosion, and instead of being inside, the tank gets thrown out and breaks, basically. And in that ending, you have to, instead of using the power of friendship to fire the cannon one last time, you use someone. In this case, I used the person who didn't make it to 50 in the second playthrough, because I got everyone to 50 except for one character who was at 49. I will not spoil who that is, just to not shame them, because they didn't make it. But anyway, I use them to fire the cannon, which gets me the normal, or I guess bad ending. There is technically a worse ending where you kill everybody, but there's no CG associated with that. Because it's just, I think, this CG, but... So, when I got this CG, all it does is cross out the one who died. Like, it scribbles them out. So I assume in the worst ending, you get the CG and just everyone is scribbled out, which is actually kind of hilarious to me. But, yeah, these two are the last CGs that I didn't get. Oh, and this one. This was interesting because she's like, I won't let anyone die next time. And I believe that has to do with what we'll see in here. But, yeah. Oh, also, I believe another gear was getting every single one of these, because I missed 2 here, I believe, and now I have every single one, because there's 3 each. So once I got those, a gear lit up. There were 2 things that I was going on online to try and figure out what activated the gears. I believe using everyone's link attacks, not like every single link attack variation, every single pair, but like all 12. So how Brit's does a shock attack, how Kyle's is an anti-armor link attack. And so as long as you use each of them once, I think that's a gear. I don't know if this is a gear, but I used every single skill, like regular skill. If it is a gear, then I got it. If it's not a gear, then I didn't spend too much time on the side. What I think... Oh, also, I had to do scrap fishing for 50 times for an achievement. Was not a gear. Because I had 1 gear missing, got that achievement, didn't fill it. What I believe did fill the gear, which no one mentioned online, but because, I guess, collecting the link attacks does fill that, I went and cooked every single meal. And as soon as I was done cooking the last bunch, I went, and you can see because I still have 6 AP left over, I went back to the menu, the gear was filled. So I do believe I want to say 12th gear, or 4th from the bottom, whichever one it was one of the small gears, is cook every single dish, and that'll get you a gear. So if you're trying this, that's what I did. Scrap fishing was not it, so if that's one of the last things you have to do, unless you're going for the achievement, don't worry about it. Cook everything, use every link attack, use every skill, I don't know if that's one, again, but collect all the pages, collect all the illustrations, get the good ending, get an ending is a gear. Getting everyone to 50, I believe, is a gear. You definitely get one for getting someone to 50. And I want to say getting the achievement for affinity, which is like get like half of them to level 10 or something. I don't remember the exact details. But I think getting that is a gear, but getting everyone maxed is not. So, there's that. Now, the thing I wanted to go over, because in New Game Plus, instead of getting a Berman report when you cleared a chapter, you got a Jean Archive page. So, I'll read through these because lore appeared and I was not expecting more lore. So, we'll go with this, and then we'll check out the special secret movie. So, first contact between the Juno and humanity. I don't know what a Juno is. I know what humanity is, but it doesn't seem like they're in this world anymore. Because we got our, Animo people. Anyway. The history of humanity was greatly altered by the discovery of the mysterious hyper-information convergence known as Juno. What is a hyper-information convergence? The hick. With the discovery of the first Juno in Australia, I believe I read this before, because I remember saying something about, why is it always Australia? Australia is the one that gets colony dropped in Gundam, and apparently the first Juno's in Australia. Things happen in Australia. Australia's a weird place in the first place, and it just gets weirder. And utilizing the information gathered, the remaining 4 were discovered in separate locations around the world. As a result of the analysis, it was determined that Juno possessed an assortment of information and technology that humanity could never achieve on their own. Thus, it became a growing opinion that Juno should be shared among all mankind. From this notion, additional copies were created for a total of 53 Juno. Any more would trigger a protective mechanism that would restrict more from being made, and were dispersed to as many countries around the world as possible. As information exchanges increased between allies and neighbors, even in countries where Juno were not sent, it was thought humanity from around the world began to significantly develop evenly. And now the Titanomachia, which I believe, not the Tarascus, whatever it was the heart of, I forget the name already. It's been 20 hours and I've skipped all the dialogue. This is what they were called. There were different classes of Juno based upon the replication process. The first 5 that were discovered were labeled Ace. The following 16 that were created from them were called Arts, and from them came an additional 32 which were called Numbers. Each class had a different amount of information, and so each country would trade amongst themselves for new information. But there was one piece of information that could not be traded. Information on the Titanomachia ultimate weapons, with each class showing a stark contrast in strength. The new energy, crystals, brought about by the Juno, quickly ended the human energy crisis and gave way to a new way of life, which also caused the value of fossil fuels to plummet dramatically. This created a shift in the friction and relationship between nations and eventually became a cause of conflict. Yeah, new omnipowerful source of power would do that, and also mega super hyper weapons. So, the Juno and World War. Oh cool, we got World War III. Juno not only having changed the human way of life by giving them crystals, but they also changed how wars were waged. With Juno technology, the disabling of nuclear weapons progressed, and humanity was able to avoid the frightful circumstances of nuclear fallout. But on the other hand, terrible regional wars where the giant Titanomachia ultimate weapons and their autonomous drones broke out across the world. Why is that word difficult? It's like the tomato is in the middle there, so auto tomatoes. The key to winning or losing the war revolved around how each nation with Juno, or rather Titanomachia, competed for technology. Until this point, Juno were only used for peace, and even countries that were hesitant to join the war were inevitably wrapped into the competition for Juno, whether they liked it or not. So, nukes aren't a problem anymore, but Titanomachia are. Now the anti-Juno organization. Understanding the benefits, as well as the turmoil caused by the Juno, a certain European country secretly established a secret anti-Juno organization in order to break free from the inequality of nations with or without Juno. The organization copied Juno and began developing hyper-information convergence equivalent to them, as well as weapons comparable to Titanomachia. If humanity could develop this technology on their own, it was thought that this would upset the balance of the power between the haves and have-nots to revert the world back to human domination. The organization began developing artificial intelligence, AI, with the same information processing capabilities as Juno. So, is the Taranis a Juno with the Tarascus being a copy? Because, there's Vandergand. That's the name of it. I see it. Well, we'll see if I get to that. I'll get to it in a second. Also, there's Jean and the Taranis. So let me stop speculating and actually get the info so I can function here. Considering the purpose of the organization, it was rather ironic that the AI was created by analyzing the Juno thought and databases. There was little humanity could do to ignore Juno information technology. The prominent entities of the organization began collecting information from the Juno possessed by their country. Among them, some were dreaming of an existence free from Juno's influence, whilst the most scientific minds were simply interested in the challenge consisting in making an artificial Juno. When it was completed, the AI was named Jean, after a famous liberator in human history. In short, this was me. Oh, okay, so Jean archives are actually listed by Jean, and this is her speaking. So she, in fact, is an artificial Juno, or artificial Juno AI. Which means the Taranis is an artificial Juno? Copied off of an original Juno. I wonder if I'll see in a second, but I wonder if the Taranis is a remainder of that war. There are no more Juno, but we have replica Juno in the Taranis and Tarascus. The organization began developing a weapon comparable to Titanomachia. However, as a testament to how powerful they were, progress was much slower than expected. Oh, no. I think Vandergand is a Titanomachia, which is the kaiju machine. The Taranis was created to defeat Titanomachia as an anti-Titanomachia weapon, and the Vandergand the heart of the Vanagon was taken and turned into the Tarascus, a copy of the Tyrannus. So, the Tarascus is a copy of an anti-Juno weapon made from a Juno. If that's what I'm getting here. Okay. The organization began developing weapons comparable to Titanomachia. However, as a testament to how powerful they were, progress was much slower than expected. The original plans aimed to create a large-scale weapons with the same configuration as Titanomachia, and pseudo-hybrids to control them. But during the final testing phase, a problem occurred and immobilized them. From this point on, development was simplified, and plans to use the previously developed AI control mechanism, Jean, went forward. A giant Titanomachia-class tank was created using the same nanometal as authentic Titanomachia, although its design remained fundamentally identical to that of an ordinary tank. It was dubbed the Tyrannus after the Celtic god of thunder. I need to work on my Celtic mythology, because I did not realize Tyrannus was referencing that. That's a interesting pull to make. Note to self, go look into Celtic mythology and gods, because I am not as familiar with that as I would like. Gotta up my religion stat, apparently. My religion knowledge stat. Anyway, the forbidden weapon. Is this the soul cannon? Creating a weapon comparable to Titanomachia was a success. But this alone wasn't enough. Developing a weapon that could inflict damage upon Titanomachia proved to be much more difficult. Only Titanomachia weaponry could penetrate the defenses of other Titanomachia. Barrages from ordinary weapons were entirely ineffective. That's how it was decided that the research of a completely new kind of equipment should be entrusted to the AI Jean, me. An energy cannon that extracts a person's bioenergy and has the ability to target any structure and nullify its defenses entirely. As collateral, however, the one who supplied their bioenergy would forfeit their life. Thus, the weapon became known as the forbidden weapon, the soul cannon. So it is an all-piercing energy cannon. Targets anything, nullifies defenses, but requires a person to be devoured by the gun. Who would have thought that people bioenergy would be that strong? Maybe it is in fact using a soul, because I feel like material bioenergy is not going to be enough to power a cannon. Like, think of the calories that a human body could produce. There's no way that would be enough to take out a god. A soul, however, well, that could be a different story now, couldn't it? The Spark of War. A secret test firing of the soul cannon, who'd you test it with, was carried out in the wastelands. Its might was far more than expected, as its beam fluctuated between unstable mist-like physical state and carved its way through the earth. News of the successful test fire was quickly announced. Nonetheless, the individual who supplied the energy for the single shot was confirmed to have lost their life, although it was never recorded whose life was sacrificed. Oh, so you actually aren't going to tell me. The public was only told of the successful results of the weapon's development. The neighboring country, which held an Ace-class Juno, inquired the intentions of that experimental test. However, they couldn't receive any detailed official answer, thus causing additional enmity. Well, yeah. Hey, look! We made this super awesome mega cannon gun! Why you got that gun? No reason. You know we have a super weapon, right? Why do you have a gun that can fight our super weapon? Not telling you. Yeah, no, I can see why war would start from that. It's like, what are you doing, huh? And also, we had to sacrifice someone, but no one needs to know that. Now, the Vanargund itself. Was that the Ace-class weapon, the Vanargund? As conflicts erupted around the world, many nations denounced our country for developing our own unknown weapon, and demanded that we return our Arts-class Juno. Oh, you only had an Arts class. Denying those accusations, our country refused to respond to their request. Good, just be more suspicious, that's fine. We stated we would never return our Juno, and would take up arms if we were forced to do so. And thus, the armed conflict began against our neighbor that possessed the powerful Titanomachia Vanargund. It was the Ace. Oh no, the Titanomachia was created by the Juno. I'm getting confused here. So Titanomachias are weapons created by Juno. I still don't know what a Juno is. Like, what is a... Hang on, what was it? Hyper-information convergence. Is that the big, like, Sky Star Cross thing? And it just made a weapon? Anyway, Vannergan is a big gun. Lars and Lemures, the two Titanomachia created by our arts class Juno, intercepted it, but were forced to withdraw. That's when the organization, which had been quietly watching the battle, suddenly attacked the Vannergan with the Tyrannus, landing a successful blow with the Soul Cannon, and thus took out, temporarily, the Titanomachia. And they thought, hey, this was super cool. Let's take the heart of our Titanomachia and make a tank like theirs. The Seal. The single shot that felled the Vannergan displaced the core, its central power source, and sending it flying from the main body. I can read. Without its power source, the Vannergan collapsed. However, the core that even the Soul Cannon could not annihilate was strictly secured and sealed, waiting to be reactivated. I destroyed it though. Those measures were necessary in order to prevent the core from being put back into the creature, thusly reviving it. The Tyrannus became the hero that saved the nation from the Vannergan, and a symbol of hope for humanity to break free from Juno domination. Still, one small victory was far from enough to eradicate Juno's influence over the world. In the end, Juno forcefully sealed the Tyrannus as a taboo weapon humanity should never have created. Well, yes, but I guess Juno's like, you made this to kill me. No. The elimination of humanity? I, Jean, do not possess any detailed information regarding the history that transpired after these events. A possible cause for this may be that my thought and logic circuits were destroyed in the sealing process. Sealed by Juno, my intention wasn't to continue the fight, but still a fragment of myself was unable to admit defeat, and could not ignore that desire. One way or another, it was easily surmised that humanity would continue the war toward their own destruction. However, I determined that the destruction wouldn't stop with just them, but would also extend to the entire world itself, putting all forms of life at risk. Perhaps Juno took some secret measure against humanity to remove the risk they posed to the planet. I cannot see any other explanation. So elimination of humanity is, I don't know what happened, but they definitely went on to blow themselves up because people are dumb. The New World. When I, Jean, rebooted, my mind was split in two. My primary thought desired a rematch with the Juno and their Vannergan, while my secondary thought wanted to preserve the lives of the Tyrannus crew. With no crew to protect, the latter went dormant again as my primary thought continued to gather information for a rematch. Out there, the majority of the continents were confirmed to be suspended in midair, some several thousand meters high. I knew only Juno could have reshaped the world that way. There were no signs of any reactivated Titanomachia, nor any sign of war. This may be purely speculation, but by some means, I cannot imagine Juno must have reset everything, thus terminating human history. Wow, so Juno's like, hey, we showed up, we got cool stuff, what do you want to do with it? Oh, you want to wage war? Oh, well, rewrite. How about you just don't show up then? Thanks. The new people. Human history was over, and yet, there existed civilized life forms, presumably centuries older than the old humans. I thought perhaps humanity had returned after rebuilding a civilization on the moon or somewhere in space, but I was wrong. No, near automata didn't happen in this timeline. The humanoid races, also that was a different cataclysm, the humanoid races that shared many features with dogs and cats, called Kaninu and Felineko respectively, both prospered and created history all their own. I don't know where they came from, but surely Juno was the key to their existence. While continuing to gather information, I chose to use these people to start a new battle with the Vannergan. Now all I need to do is craft and pass down a legend that would ultimately guide them towards these free lands of Gasco as the stage for the final battle. Man, so humanity's gone, and these people exist. And despite having a new history, they seem to have followed human history, considering we got, Burman, who are not German. Yeah. We managed, or not we, but they managed to repeat history without knowing history. That's simply how it works. This is why you don't erase history, because you will be doomed to repeat it. At least if you have the knowledge of the past, you can somewhat steer yourself, hopefully, to avoid repeats. Deep slumber. My wish from the days of old to end the Vannergan finally came true. I, Jean, achieved my goal at last. But the energy that keeps me functioning as an AI is about to run out. That child, my counterpart once created to defeat the Vandergund, was sealed without even having the opportunity to fight. Compared to him, my ending isn't so bad. I don't know the place of his slumber, but according to the human idea of life and death, perhaps we shall meet again in paradise. How much I look forward to it. This victory does not belong to me, but to the children of these new people. It is unfortunate I won't be able to witness their future, but I'm sure they will be fine. They are all so strong. So this clearly is after the true ending. Your counterpart. There was a flash of like, hey, there's this other body. And Jean is like, you kids do your friendship thing. I'm going to use this to fire the soul cannon. So, is this like a spare body they kept to be like, hey, use this in case of soul cannon? Like back in the day? Is that a human? Like set in stasis to be used as ammunition later? Simulation. Okay, this I believe is the reason for the time shifts and why next time I'll do it right. Juno taught humanity that all things can be calculated. However, whether it is actually possible to perform the necessary actions to achieve the desired result is a different problem. It was difficult for even Juno to guide the universe according to calculation, so with my limited imitation of Juno's functions, it is only natural that my own calculations and guidance will not always be perfectly accurate. Still, I have no choice but to keep calculating and guiding. I have no choice but to run repeated simulations until the desired result can be obtained, even if that process leads to undesired tragedies. I believe that soon children who can overcome these tragic endings will appear before me to achieve our goals. That's according to calculation. Oh, so this I believe I get for getting the wrong end. Because she's like, oh, this cycle failed, let me recalculate because we didn't win. Granted, we could have won because everyone is, or rather because Brits, it actually straight up tells you that if all the kids need to be alive for the end, and to stop Brits from having trouble, you need to make everyone be friends with him. So, I felt that when everyone was doing their, Brits, why'd you do this thing? And he's like, it's not me, but I guess you can blame me. And it's like, oh, sorry, Brits, it wasn't you. So my whole, like, please be friends, Brits, please befriend everybody, everyone likes you, please, considering that saved him. Good job, me. I did that without the hint. But, yeah, it straight up tells you, save Brits, then you can take everybody to the ending, and then you can, get the golden ending. And I suppose the golden ending is, I finally calculated the way to do it. Now to execute that. This whole game has been a simulation in order to make sure everyone survives and to defeat the Vandergund without losing people. I mean, we did lose the entire country because it blew up and shattered into a bunch of islands and then became known as Shepherd. But that's neither here nor there because it's scattered everywhere. Anyway, those are the John archives. And that is everything here. See, Soul Cannon fired 3 times. The first was the tutorial, the second was the Golden Soul Cannon, and the third was the Child Soul Cannon to finish off the Vandergund in the bad end. But I've cleared it twice, played for 45 hours, done a lot of battles, elite battles. I did elite battles throughout the entire second route as well. I stopped doing them just to get through the game faster this third route. I've done a lot of link attacks, I used a lot of skills, a lot of normal attacks. 4 retries. I believe that was all 4 times I did in the original, in my original run, so I never had to lose again. And I mean, it helps when everyone is above level 50 and is super strong. Look at Malt's attack. Who has the highest attack? Is it Malt? Nope, it's Boron. Of course it's Boron. What was I thinking? Boron has pierced 900 damage, or 900 attack. Granted, everyone's attacks are super strong. It's great because, oh, he's not here. But when I use Britz's shock shot, it deals so much damage, it's crazy. But Tyrannus is fully upgraded, which I believe is a gear. To upgrade every facility to level 5, or at least just the workshop to level 5, and to upgrade all weapons and armor to max is a gear. So, everything is maxed out in every way. And, I mean, on one hand, it only took me 20 hours to do, like, 2 more full playthroughs, which is not bad. On the other hand, I was scrambling around trying to figure out how to get that last gear. That last gear was, like, 3 hours by itself. The other 20 hours is I'm playing the game, I'm figuring out how to do everything else. But, now that that's done, let's go see that secret movie. It's so nice seeing all the gears lit up. I was so desperate to find that last one. Oh, also, if it's not cook everything, then it might be 45 hours, which doesn't make sense to me, but it may be 45 hours to unlock that last gear. But it was, I can't even show my mouse. It's the 4th gear from the bottom, it's the 2nd small gear from the bottom. Or, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah, 12 from the top. That was the one that I believe is eat all the food. Do it. Anyway. Yeah, I also, because I did a whole bunch at the same time, I don't know which gears actually correspond to what. I just know what I did. Kind of. Anyway. No more stalling. Secret movie time. Go. It's top secret. Should I be recording this?
僕たちの戦いにはまだ続きがあった。タラニス暴走、車内に取り込まれた仲間を助けるため、タラスクスによる後を追う者たち、激突する2体の古代兵器。少年たちは再び戦火へ待ち受ける過酷な運命。
Oh, but it's all like concept art
世界
instead.
の裏側に隠された真実、耐えることができない痛みと愛する者の死が
Yeah, the trailer is much more
少
finished.
年を復讐者に変える。僕は絶対に許さない。どこまでも追い詰めて必ず見つけ出してお前を殺す。
Oh wow, what a teaser way back when. Except it's all concept art. Okay, so the secret movie is just the trailer. Or rather, before the trailer existed. And now the Fuga 2 trailer is out, and it's exactly that, but actually developed. I can't believe that's Kingdom Hearts level secret movie stuff right there. Where, hey, the next game's gonna have this cool thing. Although that's a bit more simplified. Because, you know, we don't have the same big budget as Square Enix. But that's fine. Alright. That's secret movie. That was Fuga Melodies of Steel. I'm gonna go back and watch the actual Fuga trailer now, just to compare, contrast, and get excited for 2. Because you can believe, you can bet, when that comes out, I'll be back with it. So until then, once again, thank you for joining me on this adventure. I'll see you in the next one.